Hello and welcome to another comedian's interview for my blog and podcast, A Rich Comic Life. My name is Richard Gill and my blog describes my experiences of watching over 1,500 comedians for the last 50 years. I'm delighted to welcome my guest today. It's the brilliant Mr. Andy Askins.
Hello, Richard. How are you,
Yay!
my friend? Nice to speak to you.
Hello, my friend. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Really good, thank you. Yeah.
Good, so am I. Really good. And I'm delighted you're my guest. I've been wanting to chat to you for a while.
Yeah, it's nice to be asked. I don't do loads of podcasts or anything, so now and again, it's a nice thing to do.
Well,
Time
I'm
to reflect.
privileged, my friend. Thank you so much. We're going to talk for about 45 minutes to an hour about your illustrious comedy career. And
Okay.
I would love to go right back to the start and ask you first, please, how did you become a comedian in the first place?
Yes, it's quite a strange journey, really. I remember from being like a little boy, being enchanted by comedy and jokes, and thinking this is what I'd love to do. I mean, I'm talking young, about 6 or 7, and making everybody laugh in the playground. And then as I got older, it was the last thing on my mind, and I became a musician through hook or by crook for many years and performed with my wife. And we used to have a little bit of banter, me and my wife. But again, I spent most of the time stood in the background trying to blend in with the wall, really. I wasn't really a showman of any description. And then we had our children. This is a very convoluted kind of.
Please, carry on.
But
I'm loving it.
we, we had our children, and Julie sort of like had to take care of them for lots of
Of
different reasons.
course, yeah.
And then I saw an advert on the TV for the new comedy awards. I suppose that was a start, really, and just said, "Would you like to try this?" And I knew comedians could make reasonable money in a short time and stuff. And I just thought, it might be something to do on a weekend to supplement my musical
Yeah.
stuff. Um, and so I just went for the BBC Comedy Award thing just to try it out. And and that's how I sort of like just stepped in. I just gave it a go. It said, "Can you write 5 minutes of stuff? Would you like to try this?" And I thought, yeah, why not? And the first gig went really well, I suppose. Uh, and it's quite funny because my wife Julie, she wasn't convinced at all. I suppose all those years of just seeing me stood like a spade in a garden behind her. She wasn't expecting. But it went really well, and I think, to be honest with you, if it hadn't have gone well, I'd probably never got on the stage
No.
again. I was so nervous, so
Yeah.
nervous, and it was just on the Isle of Wight. So that's how I
That's brilliant.
yeah, that's
Absolutely
how I
brilliant. What a
became.
way to go.
Yeah, yeah.
What sort of year was this?
So it was about 2000, and it was quite a long journey because I really knew nothing about it. So I'd seen the traditional kind of stand-up comedian doing like pub stories, and they always very slick in suits and stuff. But I had
Yeah.
no idea how to become a comedian, so I tried all kind of avenues. And of course, I think every other comedian that you interview, or 99% of them will say the same thing. When you first begin, it's so difficult to get any stage time. And I rang all the famous ones like the Bearcat and the Banana and the King's Head. Uh, and it's like you come back when you've got experience, but it's that vicious circle. You can't have experience without stage time, and you can't get stage time if nobody will give you a gig. So I found it very difficult. And the first one actually that gave me a chance was the Comedy Cellar in Bracknell, Simon Houlihan.
Oh yes, yeah, yeah, know it
Yeah,
well.
who very kindly give me a couple of gigs, but we lived on the Isle of Wight, so it used to cost me about, in real terms, about 150 quid to go and perform 10 minutes uh, for free, which is ridiculous. And I
It's not.
remember everybody on the island telling me what a lunatic I was, but I thought I'd give it a go. And then eventually, jonglers, I'd heard about jonglers, and they seem to have the only real measured progression. And I remember being on the Isle of Wight doing a music gig and saying to the place where I worked, would you mind if I recorded myself doing 5 minutes of jokes to your audience? And they said, no, that's absolutely fine. So I recorded it and I sent the video off to Julia Chamberlain.
uh,
I wrote a letter and sent her a video cassette recording of it. That's how long ago it was.
Brilliant.
And she was so lovely. She wrote back to me a lovely handwritten letter, and it just said, "Thank you for your letter. I've watched your video, and to be honest with you, I think my audience would eat you alive." So I would say, perhaps it's you should work on it, or
Wow.
it's not for you. And it was a really lovely letter. It was really lovely.
But telling you, and I suppose to be fair to her, she didn't want you to waste your time if you did go and do that and they did eat you alive.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah,
Absolutely. It was the right thing to do. It was a kind thing to do, and
yeah.
but it didn't put me off at all. And because I'd sort of like gotten the bug by now, and every time I performed, it seemed to go well. And then the next big opportunity came. I performed on it was like a TV competition called Take the Mic or something like that.
Right.
And I applied for that, and I got accepted, and there was several new comedians trying out stuff and being mentored and that kind of thing. And yeah, that went really well. And it was like again, it was a semi-final and a final, and quite a big prize. I think it was this competition. My mind's very fuzzy, but
Yeah.
I sort of like won the thing, and
Oh,
the
congratulations.
yeah, it wasn't a huge thing. Well, actually, at the time, I thought it was because there was a prize of getting a contract with an agency, management contract, and I was really excited. I thought, oh, this is good. And then nothing happened at all, and I don't know, was it this competition? Doesn't matter what competition it was, but I won something, and it was a management contract with a big agency, and nothing happened. So eventually, I called the person who's quite big in comedy and said, "Look, what's happening with my with my contract?" And I said, "Oh, what?" She went, "Oh, no, no, it was just like." There was a chance of a management contract if we sort of, but you didn't really, obviously it didn't really work out. I said, okay. She said, oh, let me have a look at your tape again. So I sent her a tape, and uh, and then she called me back. She was really lovely as well. She said, I really like what you do. It's really made me laugh, but it's not my cup of tea.
Oh,
But I
no,
will recommend
again.
you to Julia Chamberlain. She runs comedy clubs called Jongleurs.
Yeah.
And then Julia put me in a competition for jonglers, and it went on from there. But my career path was actually quite difficult. So I ended up doing a competition for jonglers, and with Marcus Birdman, he won, I think.
Oh, superb.
And
Yeah.
then I got the odd spots and progressed to sort of like where I was getting 15 minutes or 10 minutes. And I was on the brink of becoming a paid artist when they went into some kind of management swap.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then I rung up and said, look, I'm ready for my first 15. I was told just to give you a ring. And the person said, I've never heard of you, mate. And I had to start again. Um,
Oh,
so so that was
you've gone through it the hard way, my
I
friend.
really did go through it the hard way,
Yeah.
and then my next big break. So this is sort of like the whole story, really. I waited until I had a paid 20-minute set at Jongleurs, and then I'd heard about the Comedy Store, But it was all like magical fairy dust stuff. And so I waited till I had a 20-minute paid, and then I contacted the comedy store and asked if I could do an open spot there. And again, it was sort of like, well, you can do the Gong Show, or you can wait 6 months to a year for a proper spot. And I said, do you
Wow.
know what? I'll wait 6 months to a year. And I
Oh,
waited 6 months,
a,
and
a
then
lot of waiting.
it was, yeah. And I waited 6 months, and I did my first five at the store, and then it just went really quickly. Then I went from doing uh, five at the store to closing the store within like 6 months probably.
Brilliant.
So that
So let me get this right. You were born in is it like Newcastle way, that sort of way?
Middlesbrough, yeah.
Middlesbrough, because I'm Carlisle.
Oh yeah, okay,
Yeah. And I came to London 1992,
yeah,
and I've been here ever since. So you then go to the Isle of Wight, and
yeah.
then when you became an established comedian, did you have to move to London, or are you based now in London, or how
No,
does that
no,
work?
no. I traveled from the island
Right,
every weekend for gigs. So
right,
yeah, it was sort
right.
of like it was 100 and
Yeah,
odd pounds just to make the weekends just to
yeah,
get
yeah.
there.
So are you still based in the Isle of Wight now?
No, we actually left. So when my children uh, got to school leaving age, we decided to make a move.
Right.
So as soon as our youngest reached sort of like 16, we just left. There didn't seem to be enough opportunities for them there, what they
Yes, of
wanted.
course. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
Um,
we're now in Wiltshire.
right, nice, very
It
nice
is
part of the world.
beautiful.
Um, was there any comedy clubs or a comedy scene in the Isle of Wight whilst you were there, whilst you were trying to get other gigs, or
No, there was just one comedy club run by Off the Curb
yeah,
in Newport on the island, and that's
right,
where I did my first spots. And they didn't normally have an open spot available, but I contacted the manager and explained the situation. I was trying to get better, and could they fit me in for five occasionally? And that's what I did. So I went half a dozen times and did like 5, 10 minutes, and they were very good. They were very accommodating, and
brilliant.
then the rest of the time it was just the comedy cellar or ringing round and trying to, it was quite
That's so
difficult.
good, so good. When I see you live, and when I look for when I see your name on a bill, I always smile
Oh,
because
that's
what
good.
what you've got on stage is warmth and enthusiasm. And
Oh,
that is,
good.
I think, part of the package. You have to want to sit there and listen to what you have to say. And that's, to me, the sign of a great comedian because they envelop the audience, and then once they've got them, they can talk or
Yeah.
do whatever they want. What do you like to talk about on stage? Do you have any specific themes or anything like that?
I really don't. I remember having a strategy when because I desperately wanted to do well and stuff, and I just remember thinking I'd like to be unpredictable in what I do. So somebody told me, I didn't realize at the time, but they said they thought I was actually a one-liner comedian. And when I break it down, I probably am. Pretty much every single line is a joke. You mightn't see the joke, but there's n nothing really in between.
I
It's just
do.
joke, 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 joke. And I always thought it might be good to just skip from thing to thing without any real kind of structure or to kind of keep the audience off balance and guessing and not knowing what was coming. I could keep their attention, and that's something I've always done. So, nothing particularly thought-provoking or insightful, just things that make me laugh. Just
Do
yeah.
you ever use your guitar on stage? Because you came from a band background, musical background.
Yeah, so when I first did my couple of preliminary kind of open spots, I didn't play the guitar. It was actually a chance meeting with Mitch Ben, uh,
Wow.
and we were in a dressing room, and I said I played a bit of guitar as well. So he said, "Oh, have a bash at my guitar." I had a bit of a play around. I used to play a lot of like quite intricate ragtime and stuff, and Mitch seemed quite impressed. He said, "Why don't you play stuff on stage?" And I said, "I never thought I could make anything funny musically on stage." And he said, "Oh, well, you really should. Why would you not use that skill?" And
Yeah,
so
you
on
will.
the way home, I started thinking of little ditties, and then I tried it, and it worked well, especially for ending a show. I think it's a great way to end a spot. A
Very
bit of
much so, yeah, yeah.
mm.
Look at somebody like Billy Connolly, who plays the guitar and does the banter in between the songs. There's him, there's Jasper Carrot, there's Mike
Yeah,
Hardy, and it goes on and on and on. And I
yeah.
think to have a prop as well, you've got something to hold on to while you try and
Yeah,
entertain the
I've always
audience.
found it felt very self-conscious stood in front of people. I
Yeah,
don't know, and it does feel like a suit of armor almost. And I have had occasions where I've taken the guitar off and just felt naked, absolutely naked. So I'm quite happy to, even if I didn't sing, I would probably stand with the guitar.
good for you. Good on you. Um, Tell me about your writing process for a routine or a show. Do you have a way of expressing what you're going to say? How do you go about doing it?
Mine's all fairy dust, really. I've tried the sitting down and writing out random stuff and connecting the dots and that kind of thing, and it doesn't really work for me. I just get frustrated, and I've found, uh, luckily, that I tend to just say quite funny things all the time. Like it's non-stop in the house, and people get fed up with me, but occasionally I'll say something and everyone will go, "That's really funny," and I'll try and put that in. And it's just random stuff, really, just conversations or just going off on random topics, and I'll just write that down and see if I can work it in. So
Good man.
yeah, I've just got a mind that works in a certain way, I suppose, and some of it's funny and usable, but. Yeah, I can't sit down and scripts are different. You can sit
Yeah,
down
yeah.
and I can do that, but mm.
Other than my blog and podcast, the most creative thing I've ever done is write a play.
Oh, brilliant.
I wrote a play that was originally for the Edinburgh Fringe, and it still might well be. But we put it on for comic relief. It's called The Applicant, and it's basically about me coming down from Carlisle. I've got a successful girlfriend, and I've never had an interview in my life before. And my friend played all the interviewers, and I was obviously the interviewee. And at the end of it, I get given my ideal job, and the whole audience cheer. And the very last scene, there's a big plot device in there, but at the very last scene, the interviewer who interviews me kills me with a
Mhm.
knife, and then I'm at the gates of heaven, being interviewed by God to decide whether or not to interview people for heaven or hell who have passed on. And I shrugged my shoulders, and that's it. And this thing took off. It was like it was only like half an hour,
Oh,
and it
brilliant.
and it was all about me sitting in a an interview waiting room, and then he'd come on and interview me. So while I was waiting, I was nervous, and I'd chat to the audience. So I wrote all these monologues, and the first night we did three. The first night I ran out. I'd written the thing, we'd rehearsed it for 10 months, 10 weeks, and I forgot the monologue, and
Oh
I
no.
was like a rabbit in headlights. It was awful, and I
Yeah.
wanted to ask you. It must be different for a comedian because you can use the audience if you lose your way a bit. You can always do a bit of audience banter or something like that. Would you agree with that?
Um, it's not for me particularly because
No.
I've found that that's the general kind of consensus that if the audience aren't listening to material, you can chat to the audience and where you're from, what you're doing. It's sort of like MC the gig. In fact,
Yeah.
somebody said to me at the very beginning, you should learn to MC a set. But it just doesn't work for me because of the style of comedy
It's
I do.
interesting.
So
Yeah. Yeah. I
I'm
can
sort of
see.
like breaking character.
Yeah.
If I go from this person who's not nervous or anything like that, but like it's very sort of
Very
like
staid, isn't it?
introverted.
In a positive way. It's very frank and direct, and that's lovely because you've got your warmth and your enthusiasm on top of it.
Yeah, yeah, perhaps. So that doesn't really work. I don't have a great plan B.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fortunately, it's something I've always wanted to do and try and work on, but I've never found it particularly comfortable talking to the audience.
No.
Um,
No.
yeah.
I can't ever imagine you having a bad gig because you're all, as I say, you're always so warm on stage. Can you give me an example of a bad or difficult gig you had as well as a good gig,
Oh
please?
yeah. Yeah, I mean, of course, hundreds of uh, bad gigs or mediocre gigs, and some real shockers, some real heartbreakers. Um, and normally for me, it's at the very beginning. That's the fragile time. If they don't buy into what I'm saying or not listening,
Yeah.
I can just look very un unprofessional and know where I'm. It looks as though I don't know what I'm doing at the very beginning, which is understandable. I don't look like a comedian or particularly act like a, you know. And so if you get hecklers and stuff, they can derail it quickly. It hasn't happened often, and I've managed to claw the gigs back. But if if people aren't listening to what I'm saying, and there's lots of little gags there that you'll miss, and if you miss them, it's very subtle.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
you, it's just a bloke talking to himself. If if you're not really tuned in, so I've had people say I remember one particular gig at Junglers and in Portsmouth, which is notorious um, for being a bad gig. And I remember walking out on stage and I said my first couple of lines and they didn't get anything. And then I just heard a young girl uh, immediately to my left on the table. It was just her and her friend. And I just heard a shh. And then I heard
No.
and everybody heard the other voice going, I won't shush. I think he's shite and I don't care who hears me. And
Oh
but it
no.
was
How do you
it
come
was
back from that?
oh, there's nothing you can do really, just crack on. I wasn't going
Oh
to be
my
rude
God.
to that person, quite entitled to their opinion. And I did get the audience, but it was a long and horrible gig. And then yeah, so lots like that. I've had corporate ones where people just not listening and I did one last year. Was it last year or this year? This year. And it was a really nice gig. It was beautifully set. It was for a charity and it was for in Portugal. It was a lot of footballers,
Yeah, yeah.
ex-Premiership footballers. And it was wonderfully set up. And I couldn't have asked for a better introduction, all that kind of thing. But I went on and performed to the majority of the audience, but all these football stars sort of like gathered on one side and just created the biggest racket, which just
Oh,
killed the
no.
gig. So I just stood there, literally talking to,
I feel
and
so
I was
sorry for
looking over
you.
at the people,
That's
So
awful.
I remember,
We're not here to hear the hecklers. We're here to hear the comedians. There's an infamous story. When I went to headliners, I go to headliners at Chiswick quite a bit,
yeah,
and Ricky Grover, the comedian, was on stage, and
I
there was
mean,
two really awful hecklers in the front row, and he did like 2 or 3 minutes, and then he went, "Just hang on a minute, ladies and gentlemen." He jumped down and he threw them out, and he
well,
came back on to the theme of Rocky because he was an ex-boxer.
yeah,
And the gig just went stratospheric. I think it made the papers.
yeah.
We're
Ricky
not here
Bob's
to hear the
incredible.
hecklers. We're here to hear the comedians.
I
And
heard
you're right. It's
another.
all about experience, having the bad
Yeah,
gig to make a
I mean,
better
if you can do that,
comedian.
that's great. I wish I had
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
superpower. I heard another story as well about Ricky, which is a great one. So again, he had some ferocious heckler, and he invited them up on stage with him, and then he got the guy in a headlock, and because he's so big and strong, he just performed the rest of his set with the guy in a headlock from
Wow,
start to
that's
finish. The guy was
brilliant.
just stood there for like 15 minutes with Ricky, with this guy's head under his arm that couldn't move.
That's so good. That's so, so good. Um,
Hey.
that's so good to just quietly don't mess, and just do it.
Yeah.
Was there ever a time where you thought, I'm good at this and I can do this and this is my career now? So I'm
Actually,
looking for good gigs because we've had the bad gigs. I've had. Was there a moment where you thought, I'm really good at this and I can do this well?
I never really thought that. Well,
No.
now I can sort of like somebody said to me, which is I had the imposter syndrome, same as most comedians, and then somebody once said to me, what is the evidence for not being good at what you're doing? Or I used to get particularly nervous before gigs, and I said, look, how many good gigs have you had? And at the time, I probably had a few thousand gigs
Yeah.
and how many were really bad, and there might have been two or three, and how many were great, and it was probably sort of like 980.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's like, what is the reasoning behind you being nervous about the gig going wrong? It just doesn't hold up. And so that really helped. And then when I got some TV, I got such an overwhelming sort of like number of tweets and messages from people. I just thought, oh, do you know what? I shouldn't, people really do like what I'm doing. So
That's brilliant. That's so good. So,
yeah,
so
but
good.
a nice, yeah.
And deserved as well, my friend. You are a
Ah,
great comedian. Don't
oh,
ever forget that.
oh, thank you. Yeah, cheers.
You mentioned nerves. How do you cope with any nerves before you go on stage? If, well, you did say you get them, or you did get them. Do you still get them now?
No, I'm a lot better now. I
Yeah,
mean, I do have the mindset where I'm really looking forward. Once I get past that first minute, I'm really looking forward to making the people laugh because I think um, they're not expecting me to be particularly funny. So when I get a really big laugh at the beginning, I just think, right, I'm gonna really do my best here, and yeah, it's just a lot of fun, and yeah, I never get tired of. It's funny. It's sort of like go on stage, hopefully have a great gig, and then the second it's finished, it's coat on, and I'm in the car talking to Julie and a cup of tea. And by the time I've got home, I probably couldn't tell you where I've
no.
been. It's like completely separate. Yeah.
Do you have any rituals before you go on stage to calm your nerves that you
Uh,
may have?
no, I normally set my phone to record the set, and I have a quick look at my notes and anything I want to say
Yeah.
or anything new that I want to try and crowbar in if it feels right. It
And
never
would
does.
you and would you say that as soon as you walk on stage or as soon as you get a laugh, any nerves that you may have go?
Yeah, I mean, it's that thing as well, isn't it? Like if you go into a different place or a room full of people that you don't know, that first 5 minutes, it's all about acclimatizing. And once you get on stage and you acclimatize that audience, it might only be sort of like 2 or 3 minutes, but then it's most of the time it's like getting into a warm bath. It's just really nice. It's really lovely, and
It,
especially if the audience are really listening and they allow you to time everything you're doing how you want it and give it a bit of an edge, or it's the dynamics of it, the timing, and that's really lovely when they just sit back and let you do your stuff. I love that.
yeah. It's also as well, following on from all this. Sarah Millican famously said that if you have a difficult gig, you have until 10 o'clock the next day to start again. And I think that's lovely. It's like get it all out of your system and then forget it and move on. And
Yeah,
and
it's like,
and I think you have to go through that rocky road, as I said earlier, to become a better comedian.
yeah, it's really difficult coping with rejection and stuff,
Mm,
especially you're on stage and if everybody dislikes you or you feel everybody dislikes you, it's very difficult. I remember um, having a tough time and it taken weeks to get over it, like literally weeks, and
mm.
not being able to sleep and really affecting me.
Oh, mate.
And then just the somebody said to me again, which is very true. You don't get the audiences don't get better, uh, you get better, and it's the number of gigs which are shit get less and less. And to be fair, I've been very lucky. The number of really awful gigs, probably on my pair of hands. Probably
It's
less
not
than
luck, my
10
friend.
really
It's so
awful.
deserved. It's deserved. You're a very funny man. Don't
Oh,
ever
thank you.
forget that.
But
Don't.
it's all good now. Yeah, I look
Yeah.
forward to every gig, and
Yeah. Yeah.
but it
Yeah.
did take 10 years to get to that mindset.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Of
yeah,
course. Yeah. Yeah. And I should ensure this incredible laugh because wherever I go, people want to hear it. It's amazing, and to see you do what you do, I, as I said earlier on, I know I'm going to have a good time. When I see your name on a bill, I know you're that talented to entertain me, and you've never given me a bad show. So
oh,
well
thank you. That's
done.
very
It's so
kind of you.
well
Thank you.
deserved.
Yeah, cheers. Thank you.
How do you remember all your routines?
I work so often. I mean, yeah, and it's like the Steve Martin thing. I know all my stuff so well, so it's just a matter of um, yeah, just getting up, and sometimes it absolutely flies. Sometimes I have to come off stage and I'm thinking, God, I've just got started. And then other times it's like pulling teeth, especially at Christmas, and you're thinking, right, this feels about time to go now. And you look at what you watch and you still got 15 minutes to go. So I don't have a problem remembering stuff. But um, yeah, I don't really have a problem unless it's like a really extended set, sort of like an hour, and I haven't done that for a long time.
Yeah.
Then I have to make sure I try and it has some kind of structure rather than just race through randomly, and then you've got 10 minutes of shit to finish a show because you haven't thought about it. So I do a sort of like a get out kind of 5 minutes and sort of
Yeah.
like this is where, yeah,
Yeah, you mentioned Steve Martin. We are
yeah,
recording this December 2024, and he's my favourite film comedian. And
yeah,
I'm
he's amazing to
watching.
me.
There's a brilliant documentary on Apple TV about his entire career, and
Yeah.
I've got loads of comedy books over here. I've got his book Born Standing Up, which is widely regarded as one of the best. What's fascinating about him was that he was probably one of America's biggest comedians, and then he walked away. He just walked away like that. He thought, I've had enough of this. But what a success in film. Those
Yeah.
10 films he made with Carl Reiner are some of the funniest I've ever seen.
Yeah,
And
what a performer.
oh, I saw him live at Hammersmith Apollo with his bluegrass band. And at the end of it, he did the King Tut with the Egyptian thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
so he still has all the zany stuff in there. And Only Murders in the Building is brilliant as well on Disney. I'm so pleased he's come back with that with
Yeah.
Martin
I've just
Short.
started watching it. I haven't really got into it yet, but I
Yeah,
remember
it's
somebody
good.
showing me the
It's very, very, very clever.
yeah.
He's a wonderful man and a great shout, my friend, because
Yeah, the Great
he's
Fidini.
yeah yeah
What a routine that is.
yeah yeah, very much so. Yeah. Let's move on. I am very lucky to be able to go to the Edinburgh Fringe every year. It's my holiday, and
Yeah.
I go for a week and I see about 50 shows. And I saw you, my friend, in a VIP party last year.
Oh, okay.
You walked, brushed past me. You said hello to me, and I went, all right. It was lovely. Tell me about your experience of the Edinburgh Fringe in particular, or other fringes and festivals. As I'm branching out, I've just come back from Hull. I go to Brighton. I'm going to Leicester. Um, I go to Hastings. That's a good one. They seem to be springing up all over the place, and it's
Yeah.
wonderful because it's healthy for the comedians.
Yeah.
Tell me about your experience of first going to them as a punter, as a comedian who shared a bill, or as a comedian with a solo show, please.
Yeah, so my first experience of Edinburgh was the BBC Comedy Awards. So I got through to like the semi-finals and I went up there just to see what happened. It was a really good semi-final. It was Paul Chowdhury, James Dowdeswell, Jason John Whitehead, and then another one I did was it doesn't matter, but I went up to see who kind of won,
Yeah, yeah.
and one of my friends, my great pals at the time, is a guy called Boothby Graff, who's an amazing
Oh,
comedian.
he's one of my favourites. He's been on here. I
Yeah,
absolutely love him.
so
I,
we met on
I,
the Isle of
I, I
Wight
think
many
he's a
years ago.
genius.
Yeah, yeah, we met before when he was first
Oh,
starting to get his set together.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes, at
He's
one point,
so good. I've been following him for years. I've got all his CDs.
yeah,
Whenever I'm in a
he's
bad
incredible,
mood,
isn't
I
he?
always put the CDs on. It's such a classic act. I'm so pleased.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Actually, we when he was getting all his stuff together all those years ago, when he was trying to get in on the scene kind of thing, we actually had a little 15 or
Yeah.
20-minute little set that we did together. I played banjo and he played guitar.
Oh,
We had a ball, yeah.
fantastic.
What a
Fantastic.
brilliant comedian Boothby.
He
But
is.
he
He's
invited
so
me.
good. So, so recommended. Yeah.
Yeah. So he invited me to come up that particular year, and we had loads of beers, and I watched it. I didn't watch the final; I wasn't allowed in, but I had a great time. So that was my first experience of Edinburgh, and I was just like blown away by the size of it. And then when I
Yeah.
actually become a professional comedian, and it was my full-time living, people were telling me how much it costed, and it was a lot of money. It was, it's 10, 14,000 pounds,
Yeah. It's
and
ridiculous.
expect not to get much of that back. And at the time, I had my kids, and I went, "There's not a chance on earth I'm spending that kind of money. If I'd have been single, perhaps, maybe I would have went down that road. But for me, it was like if I'm going to spend £10,000, it's going to be on my family, not
Yeah.
on a
Yeah.
load of leaflets. And I know it might have been short-sighted, but that's what I did every year. We had a bloody good holiday, or I spent time with the kids and Julie, and don't regret a thing. And then I didn't do Edinburgh. Everybody said you should do Edinburgh just to see what it's like. And I did it in 2000 and it might have been 16 or 17. And it was really nice. I wasn't looking forward to it at all. It's just way out of my comfort zone. But
Did you
I
do the 25 nights? Did you do the full 25 nights?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And
That's a slog. That
I
is a
remember being
slog.
really taken aback by because James Acaster, who I'd met a couple of times. I think we did a TV thing together, and we were chatting, and he said, "Oh, I've heard you're doing Edinburgh." He said, "We're all very excited." And I thought, "Well, yeah, I can't believe you even knew I was
There
existed."
you
Kind of.
go. You see.
Yeah, so it was so, and it was a good experience. I hated the whole self-promotion side of it,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I found out. So my wife Julie, who's an incredible uh, person, she actually does comedy as well. She hosts a little gig we run. She's brilliant. She's so funny.
Right.
Um, she did my promotion for me, and the kids helped out.
Oh, how lovely is
But
that? That's
yeah, no, it was really
fantastic.
good.
That's
And
fantastic.
we all came up as a family, and we lived outside of Edinburgh. So as soon as the show was done, apart from I was in Edinburgh all the time doing promotion for it and little
Yeah.
shit,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
back to the accommodation with the kids, it made it, yeah, not really my scene doing festivals. It's all
No.
seen. There's it's when you see all the money like disappearing from the artists
The
here,
thing
there,
that the
everywhere. And
thing that was certainly noticeable last year was
yeah,
it's far too expensive. It's not a fringe anymore. It's a promotional event, and they
yeah,
need to cap because you've got working class comics or anybody who wants to go up there and can't because they just can't afford it. It's as simple as
yeah.
that.
I mean, for me personally, it's I do have to make a living, and
Yeah,
I'm not somebody that's going to start appearing on Mock the Week or anything. So the
yeah,
gigs are where I make my money, and
yeah,
so
yeah,
so I do festivals, and I love them, but I tend to try and get on a compilation bill and actually get
yeah.
paid and have a good time, none of the stress. And so I've done Australia and yeah, I'm going out again next year, so I'm doing Melbourne,
Brilliant. Oh, good
yeah,
on you,
Melbourne
my
and
friend.
Adelaide and then New Zealand. So
Lovely.
yeah,
That'll be
fantastic.
really good. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, because the Melbourne Comedy Festival is quite famous as well, isn't it? One of the
yeah,
biggest. Yeah, yeah. You mentioned James Acaster. I'd love to get him on here.
yeah,
There is a testimonials section on my blog. Lots of comedians have very kindly praised me and what I do to support everybody because the blog's for
yeah.
everybody, not just for the big hitters. And James Acaster wrote. If I wasn't a comedian, I would happily sit next to Richard Gill all day and make him laugh.
Oh, that's a nice thing to say. Oh,
And
brilliant.
that's genius.
Yeah, brilliant.
That he's one of the greatest. How
Oh,
how
he's
he how he
funny. Yeah,
does it, I've
he's
no idea.
incredible. Yeah, there's some real talent out there.
Oh yeah, yeah, very much so. To date, what's been your comedy highlight? Have you got one?
There are so many, and for different reasons. Probably my favorite gig was I had the privilege of doing the Teenage Cancer Trust gig.
Magic.
I was invited on by John Bishop, and that was a
Oh,
thrill, and it went so well, and I'd never performed to an audience that size before, and
brilliant.
yeah, that was probably my highlight. All my family were there watching it, and yeah,
Wow,
that's uh,
that's incredible. That's at the Royal Albert Hall.
yes, yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Wow, well done, you. And following on from that, do you have any ambitions? Would you like to be on TV or anything like that?
No, I did some TV and that was fantastic and it was all surreal and everything. It was really enjoyed those performances and it all went down brilliantly. Couldn't have gone better. Um, but no, I'm not particularly ambitious. I'd like to do a little tour of my own. It's something I've never done, and it doesn't matter if it doesn't happen. But I'm hoping to do something at the end of next year, 2025, September, October, November, something like that. Just a little tour, maybe 20 or 30 dates around small places. I had the privilege of supporting uh, Georgie Carroll, who's an Australian comic
Superb.
originally from the UK. She was fantastic, and she had me for pretty much the whole run, and it was just amazing. And I loved it so much. I was so grateful to be because the audiences were fabulous, and although we probably appeal to the same kind of gallows humor kind of crowds, um, we just both had the best time. And yeah, and she was sensational. If you haven't
Well,
seen Georgie Carroll, she's amazing.
yes, yeah,
Yeah.
she is superb. Um, I'm going to be first in the queue to come and see you on your little tour, my friend,
Oh, okay.
because we've just come back from the Hull Comedy Festival.
Yeah.
And we went to see Jason Manford at the
Yeah.
Hull
Brilliant.
Arena, and you were
Yeah.
supporting him,
Yeah.
and we were late, and I was
Oh,
absolutely gutted because when they said, "Oh, the support is here," I was nearly in tears. I thought this guy's
oh, okay.
fantastic.
It was
Shit.
great. Yeah,
So
it's
I'm
quite
due to come and
funny.
see you again soon.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Was that experience good with
Great.
Jason? Yeah.
Yeah, great. I've supported Jason several times. In fact,
He's superb, isn't he? Yeah.
yeah, we did a tour to the Falkland Islands together many
Wow.
years ago, and literally probably within about 18 months he'd become this massive TV star. And
Yeah.
he was always a class act. He was always
Yeah.
so funny, completely unflappable. He was a young lad being heckled by loads of squaddies, and he just looked like the most relaxed person on the planet. He was
He
absolutely
is. That's
brilliant.
his
Those
magic
are
quality.
fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I've watched him grow. I saw him in a little club years and years
Yeah.
ago, and I thought he would be good then, and he has. He's taken off.
Yeah, I saw him do a show. It was 2.5 hours long, and it was bang, bang, bang. It was just,
Wow,
but I've never seen anybody perform and be consistently funny for 2 hours like that. It's 2.5 hours. It was, yeah, it was so impressive. He's a brilliant
so
bloke.
good,
Yeah.
so good. Following on from that, who makes Andy laugh? Who are your favourite comedians? Have you had
So,
comedy growing up?
yeah, so I tended to like routines rather than comedians. So I loved Billy Connolly when I was a kid. Jake Thackeray
Yes,
was a favorite of mine. And then when I actually got into comedy, probably my favorite is Stu Francis, who's retired now. I love one-liner comedians, so all the usual
he was
suspects.
superb. We used to go and see him all the time, Stuart
Yeah, it's
Francis. Yeah,
incredible.
the
Yeah,
Canadian one-liner. He was
yeah.
brilliant.
I think he's retired now, but
Yeah,
we're so lucky. We got so many great one-liner. I'm not
yeah.
that familiar with the guys in the US and stuff, but certainly in this country, you've got such talent like Milton Jones and
Yeah,
Gary Delaney, Mark Simmons. There's so many good comics out there.
Tim Vine as well. He's
Tim Vine, yeah,
superb.
just
And Darren Walsh is very good as well. He's always got
yeah,
shows. He's so good with the
yeah,
one-liners.
just
I love one-liner merchants. I think they're brilliant because
yeah,
you can. What I do, I'm an administrator for a council in London, so that pays for me to go and do the comedy, to go
yeah,
and watch the comedy. So I can remember one-liners. So I go into work the next day and tell them what I've remembered, what's trying to make me laugh, and I never get laughs.
yeah.
You have to be in on the moment.
Yeah. You know what? I remember seeing Stu Francis for the first time, and I
Yeah,
was just crying with laughter. And then I rung my family up, and I was like trying to repeat all the lines I could
yeah,
remember.
yeah.
And then we had two shows, and in the second show, the audience didn't go for it at all. And I was stood there
Wow,
watching this genius,
it
and
is.
I was thinking I wanted to shake the audience by the lapels and go, "Do you realize how good this is?" And
Yeah,
but yeah,
it
Kevin
is.
Bridges
It
is
is
a big
fascinating how comedy is how much comedy is so subjective.
yeah.
You know, with audiences and everything. My first ever gig, aged 7, was 1974, and we went to see Les Dawson at Scarborough, the whole
Wow.
family, and he was
He,
incredible.
he was a
And
brilliant.
oh,
Yeah.
he's still top 5 for me. I just think he's a genius.
Yeah.
My
Malcolm and Wise. Yeah.
Well, Morecambe and Wise were the ones that got away. There's a section in the blog called "The Ones That Got Away," and they're my all-time favourites.
Yeah.
I absolutely love them. I've got loads of books about them. I've seen
Yeah.
loads of plays and shows about them. We've had Gary Morecambe on here talking about living with his dad. It's been amazing. I would have loved to have gone up and hugged both of them and just say thank you so much, because I can remember, aged about 4 or 5, looking at everybody in the room on Christmas Day, and everybody, no matter how old, was crying,
Yeah.
and it was this difference with the glasses or the fez with Tommy Cooper or the piano with Les Dawson. They weren't doing anything, and you were laughing at them, and it was like, this is a level above just telling jokes. It was extraordinary, you
Yeah,
know.
Tommy Cooper, just again, just a genius, and the famous jokes, the guitar, the Stradivarius, and the painting, just incredible. There's so much good.
We were very lucky because a year after Les Dawson, we saw Tommy Cooper, and
Yeah,
he was incredible. The curtains opened, there's a bed on stage, and he's lying on it, and nothing happens, and there's a woman crying in the audience, and it trickles round, so everybody's laughing.
yeah.
And with perfect timing, he pops his head up. He goes, What? Somebody come on!"
There was a fantastic show in Edinburgh last year. I don't know if you've seen it. I think it was called, might have been called The Last
The
Laugh.
Last Laugh. It's coming into the West End, and we
It's
went. We saw it on preview with my friend who lives in Harpenden, where Eric
yeah,
was born. We saw it on preview, and they did a Q&A, And I know the bloke who plays Bob Monkhouse. This is a play about Eric Morecambe, Tommy Cooper, and Bob Monkhouse, and the three of them are on stage. And I said to them, I was very lucky to be able to see Tommy Cooper live, and I've just seen Bob Monkhouse and Eric Morecambe live tonight. That was incredible.
Yeah.
And I'm so pleased because I recommended it should be going to the West End, and it's doing a
Yeah.
run in the new year. Highly, highly, highly recommended.
Oh yeah, I loved it. Absolutely loved
Yeah,
it. Me and Julie sat at the back, a little tear in our
yeah,
eyes. Just
yeah, yeah,
done.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Superb, absolutely superb. So of course I had the best grinding, and then I came to London, and my first comedy store bill would be Linda Smith, Richard Morton, who's brilliant. um, uh, John, what's he called? John Hegley. And top of the bill was Charles Fleischer, my very first comedy store show. And Charles Fleischer was an American voice artist who was never heard of again because he went to Hollywood to voice Roger Rabbit.
Same
I thought, thank God I've seen him. but you're right. There's so many. There's so many special moments, and I've my friend at the British Comedy Guide, which is the big comedy website. They said to me, for your anniversary, we'll have to do your favourite gigs, and I said I can't do that. I can give you my 25 favourite moments, and I can send you this afterwards. I'll send you the link, and it lists all of them, and there's some absolute classic moments in there, and that's the magic of doing what I do. You know, as long as I can move and get to a gig, I'll go and support anybody because it's the experience of going for me. It's just the magic of sitting there, and as I said earlier, you're in the moment, and it must be amazing being on stage, getting that reaction.
Oh, it's great. It's so much lovely now and again because I think most comedians are the same. You write so many jokes and stuff and watch so much comedy that you sort of like you just appreciate, right? You laugh out loud. You appreciate in the technical side of it, and you can see where most things are going. And so when somebody really makes you laugh, like for me it was Stu Francis or Kevin Bridges. I went and watched
Oh,
Kevin Bridges doing it was like a preview of a show, and it was we were in the dressing room and we were saying it's just like I'm just getting it together. It's really bare bones or whatever. But I sat and watched like an hour, and it was just I was
he's
crying
superb.
with laughter. I thought,
He
oh
is
my
superb.
God, it was so good. And Greg Davis, I saw him a couple of weeks ago
Oh,
working on his new show, and again it was sort of like bits of paper, and I've only been working on it for a few weeks or whatever. And I thought, oh my God, if you
it's so
start in a
spot
few
on.
weeks,
Yeah,
it's just
yeah. I,
brilliant,
I
brilliant.
saw Kevin Bridges do work in progress, and I always sit in the front row. And he said to me, "Where are you from, sir?" And I said, "I'm from Carlisle." And he said, He said, "Yeah." He said, "That's on the border between England and Scotland, and somewhere a lot of comedians stop off and have a piss." And I'd never met Greg Davis before, and I went. He did outside the box at New Malden. This was
Yeah.
very recently, and he's going everywhere, work in progress now. And I never met him, and I sat there, and he said, "You're about my age, sir." He said, "How many times do you go to the toilet in a night?" And I went, "6." And he pulled his classic face, and he went, "My God, sir, you really need to be in the hospital." And then at the end of it, I met him, and he went, "Your laugh is insane." And it's just magical. You get these wonderful moments.
Yeah,
That's the reason why I do it. You know, it's
that's
what's
great.
not to love. You know, it's such a wonderful medium.
Yeah, it's great, and then, yeah, nearly everybody you work with is just fantastic fun.
Yeah,
You can't take it too seriously, or themselves too seriously, and yeah, you just see I remember watching some routines, and now the sort of like I don't know if they were appreciated enough, really. Like the Rod Gilbert lost luggage thing is just absolute genius, and
yeah.
I'm not. Will it get the same kind of attention as the the Stradivarius and the paint. I'm not sure it will, but I think it's just one of the best things. It's just beautiful.
The magic is finding the originality.
Yeah, that's it. Absolutely.
And it will always be that. I I always remember you mentioned the BBC Comedy Awards. I've been going to Hull for about 2 years, 2 or 3 years, and last year on the Monday night, I watched the BBC Comedy Awards, and Frankie Munro, Joe Kent Walters won it, and I'd never heard of him before, and I thought this is amazing, all the and that was on the Monday, and on the Thursday he played the Tiny Room in Hull, and he got a standing ovation. And I
Wow.
met him, and I met him afterwards, and I said, 2024 is going to be your year. And he won the best newcomer at Edinburgh this year, and it was
Wow.
like in Leicester. He played everywhere. He was absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, it's exciting, isn't it?
Oh, there's Reeves and Mortimer in him. There's Johnny Vegas. There's the Mighty Bush, all rolled into one of this extraordinary character. Amazing,
Yeah. Sam
amazing.
Campbell as well. He's so original and fresh.
Yeah, he's a lovely
I
bloke
love-
as well who plays him.
yeah,
He's just this innocent kid.
yeah.
So good. Like me, do you go to a lot of comedy gigs as a member of the audience, or did you before you were a comedian?
No, I don't.
That's the answer most comedians tell me.
Yeah.
Why
I
is that?
Well, I spend so much time mixing with comedians and watching comedy live
Yeah,
from the side of the stage. So I go to Edinburgh. I try to every. Or I don't think I'll go this year. It's just crazy the prices.
yeah.
But I go to Edinburgh for a long weekend with Julie. We try and watch as many shows as we can, which is really great. But apart from that, yeah, I've got other things. It's my life comedy,
Yeah, yeah. If you're on a bill of 5 acts, say, would
Yeah.
you, and you're on first, would you stay and watch the rest of the act?
Normally not, and the reason that is because I've normally got a long drive. There was a point where everything had a hotel attached to it, and you could
Right.
stay, watch all the show, then have a coffee or a beer with your friends afterwards, and that was just the best for me, like the socializing and
Yeah.
watching, supporting everybody. But now, like I did that. I'll might have to go to Liverpool, and if I'm on first and off stage by 8:30, I'm not going to hang around till
No.
10:30 and
Of
then
course
drive
not.
4.5 hours back, or
Yeah.
4 hours
Yeah. Yeah.
back. There's so
Yeah.
much long distance travel involved. But if and yeah, so if I'm staying a weekend, I'll watch the show from start to the end,
Yeah.
regardless of when I'm on the bill. I'll watch the whole thing. If I've got a con and I'm staying, but if I've got a long drive, no, I'll either ride.
Of course not, and
And
that's only fair. But
yeah,
by God, the social side of it is incredible.
it's the best thing. I mean,
Yeah, it is.
I feel sorry for a lot of the younger comedians now because there used to be a lot of weekends where you would get a hotel for maybe the store used to do a fantastic run in Manchester where you do Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then maybe do Sunday in Durham, and you'd be
Yeah.
away with your pals for 5 days, and you genuine comedians are the best people to hang around. They don't take anything too seriously, and all right, we all moan about petrol and odd gigs or this, that, and the other, but generally we just have a hoot. It's
Well,
great.
that's why I'm part of it as well, my friend. I
Yeah,
love being part of it, and thank
brilliant.
you so much
Are you
for
welcome?
everything that you do because you're
Oh,
a very, very, very funny man.
oh,
I've
thank
much
you.
enjoyed talking to you. I could talk
Okay.
to you all day.
Well, thanks very much, Richard. I'm not sure I could listen to myself all day, but yeah,
Well, I could. I could. You're a very, very talented comedian. I'm looking forward to seeing you again very, very soon. You look
thanks very
after
much.
yourself and all the very best.
Take care, Richard. Good luck with
Take
everything.
care now.
Bye now.
Thank you. Thanks.